You know that feeling, right? You're at the end of another relationship, and you're just looking back thinking, how on earth did I end up here again? It's so frustrating, feeling like you're just stuck on this treadmill, always picking partners who leave you feeling hurt or just empty. So let's dive in and really unpack why this keeps happening.
And this question, right here, it just hits home, doesn't it? I'm tired of ending up heartbroken. How do I change whom I'm attracted to? It's like a gut punch, because it feels like your own radar is broken, like your own sense of attraction is betraying you. But here's the thing, and I want you to really hear this. You can change who you're attracted to. It's not set in stone. It just, well, it takes a little work.
So let's give this thing a name, okay? Let's call it what it is, the heartbreak loop. And listen, if this feels familiar to you, you are so not alone. This is a super common, recognizable cycle that tons of people get stuck in. But the first step to breaking free, it's all about understanding why it's happening in the first place. All right, section 1, echoes of the past. So where does this whole loop even begin? Well, for our first stop, we've got to look backwards. Because believe it or not, so much of this is about the echoes of our past playing out in the present.
Here's the really wild part. Our brains are basically wired to find familiar things comforting, even when that familiar thing is actually painful. It's this weird paradox, right? Think of your brain like a pattern-matching computer. It's constantly scanning the world for things it recognizes because deep down, familiar feels safe. But, and this is the huge but, what if your normal, what if your familiar growing up was painful? Well, that's exactly what your brain will keep seeking out.
Okay, so there's a name for this. Psychologists call it our relationship template. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a blueprint for love that got downloaded into your brain when you were a kid. You didn't choose it. It was just built from watching your parents, from how your caregivers treated you. And this template, it becomes the factory default setting for who you find attractive as an adult.
So, how exactly does this template get formed? Well, it could be a lot of things. Maybe you grew up watching your parents be really distant with each other. Or maybe you had a parent who was super critical and love felt like something you had to constantly earn. All of these experiences, they create this deep, unconscious magnet inside you that pulls you toward partners who make you feel the exact same way. It's like you're subconsciously trying to go back and fix the original problem to finally win that love you missed out on.
And this quote from a therapy client, Emma, is just a perfect example of this in the real world. She asks, "Why do I always fall for guys who are hard to reach emotionally?" Well, Emma was raised by a really distant father, so for her, that emotional unavailability in a partner, it felt comfortable. Now, let me be clear. It's not that she liked it, of course not. It's just that it felt familiar. It matched her template, even though it was breaking her heart.
Okay, on to our next section, chemistry versus compatibility. This is what we're calling the Great Deception. Because beyond our childhood template, there is another massive trap we all fall into, especially today. And that's mistaking that powerful, electric feeling of chemistry for, actual, real compatibility.
So let me just ask you straight up, are you mistaking a spark for a sustainable fire? You know that crazy, thrilling rush you get at the beginning? It can absolutely feel like this is the one, like it's a sign from the universe. But a lot of the time, it's really a sign of something else entirely.
Let's break this down. Chemistry. That's the intense, thrilling spark. It's the roller coaster ride. It's exciting. But that intensity can also act like a smokescreen, totally blinding you to some major red flags. Now, compatibility, that's different. That's the bedrock. It's about having shared core values, emotional stability, and just mutual respect and kindness. It's what one of our sources calls the emotional glue, the stuff that actually lasts long after the initial fireworks fade.
And there are a few other common attraction traps worth mentioning. First, you've got the rescuer. This is the person who's always drawn to partners they can fix. Then there's the settler, who deep down just doesn't believe they deserve better and puts up with way too much. And finally, the avoider, who deliberately picks unavailable people because, subconsciously, it's a way to keep real intimacy at arm's length. See if any of those ring a bell. All right, we spent a lot of time diagnosing the problem. Now for the most important part, the solution. And the turning point. The place where everything starts to change, it's probably not where you think. We're calling this section the kitchen of self-love. And here is the absolute key. We spend so much time and energy trying to find the right person. But the real secret? The key isn't finding the right person. It's becoming the right person. The work that actually changes everything, it's all internal.
Think about it like this.
Every choice you make in dating comes from one of two states. Either you're coming from a place of want, which says, you know what, I'm good on my own, I'm whole, and I want you to add to my already great life. Or you're coming from a place of need, which says, I'm empty, I'm desperate, and I need you to come and fill this hole inside me. One is a place of power, and the other is a place of total desperation.
Okay, so let's get back to this idea of the kitchen. Imagine two kitchens. In kitchen number one, it's a kitchen of abundance. You are well fed, you're cooking for yourself, you're nourished by your own self-love. So when someone comes along offering you a relationship, you can look at it calmly and decide, does this add to my life? You can actually say no thanks to junk food. But in kitchen number two, you're starving. You're desperate for anything. You'll grab onto any junk food love that comes your way, even if it's bad for you, just to feel full for a minute.
And just to be super clear about this analogy, in this story, the food is love. And those hungry kids in the starving kitchen, well, those are the parts of you that are just desperate for affection and validation from someone else.
So here's the bottom line. A starving kitchen makes you vulnerable. It really does. But a full kitchen, a kitchen where you're already feeding yourself, that makes you powerful. That's when you get to choose from a position of strength, not desperation.
Okay, final section. We've talked about the why, we've talked about the solution, now let's get practical. Because knowing all this stuff is great, but putting it into practice is the whole game. Let's talk about your action plan. It's time for some dating bravery.
But first, a really important heads up. Changing these deep-seated patterns isn't like flipping a switch. It's going to take real effort, and honestly, it's going to feel weird at first. When you're used to chaos, someone who is kind and stable might even feel boring. But you know what? That boring feeling, that's actually a sign that you're on the right track.
So here are 4 concrete steps you can take to break the cycle. 1. Acknowledge your template. You have to see the pattern before you can change it. 2. Adjust your antenna. Start consciously tuning out the familiar jerks and tuning in to kindness. 3. Give stability a chance. Seriously, if someone seems boring but they're solid and kind, stick around. See what happens. And number 4, pace your investment. Don't give your whole heart away on day 1. Make them earn it.
Look, at the end of the day, this is all about empowerment. Your past, whatever your parents' feelings were, that's not your life anymore. It's your life now, and you are totally free to direct it any way you want. You get to decide what you keep from your past and what you leave behind.
And I just want to leave you with this one last question to think about. We're so trained to chase that intense spark, that drama. But what if the person who feels a little boring at first is actually the one your healthiest self has been waiting for this whole time?